afternoon. Lori, I do want to make sure, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. I want to make sure. Okay, perfect. Good, good, good. Awesome, awesome. Well, happy Friday, everyone. I'm super excited for us to kick off today's training, conservation. As we cover conservation, I know for a lot of my newer folks, newer in leadership, newer agents, this is probably like a new concept or a new area of discussion for us to go over. And the reason why we want to go over it now and I know a lot of my folks that have been here have heard about it. We talk about it often, but we are wanting to be able to get us as an agency to be able to not. I know the push is always prospecting, closing cases, and looking for us to make the very next paycheck the next week with enrollments that we have scheduled. However, we all know that the different contracts that we have, especially in leadership, are a lot more lucrative. And so, conservation is a way for us to help maximize that contract by us focusing on the back end of the business and making sure we retain our customers and keep the business on the books, which will pay you all more longer, or which will pay you all more in the long run, as you are here longer with us in the agency. And you guys all know when it comes to commissions and renewals, a lot of us, especially newer agents, look at your commission balance. Maybe asking questions about what are these chargebacks? Conservations are ways to help put those commissions back into your commission account if you're newer. If you've been here more than a year, you'll start to see some renewals reflect on your paycheck. And you're like, okay, well, what are these renewals? Well, those are policies that have paid and have been paying for more than a year after year, and you get renewals every month after a policy has been paying Liberty National for more than 13 months or more. And so those are just kind of two different ways and that conservation pays you. And so want to make sure that we are maximizing our income by this specific by doing this. And on the conservation form, it is specifically the one that we're looking at. I didn't print one out because it's pretty simple, easy to read, and we can go over it on the screen. However, I do want us to be able to go through and talk about how to conserve business, what to say. Last month, if you guys remember, we went over the different reports that generate conservation leads. We went over um, lost business, stuff that comes off that's either declines, cancels, and not takens. We went over your chargebacks pulling from ICM and how to identify those. We also went over the policyholders that have been transferred from payroll deduction. And then we went over future persistency leads. So that's kind of like a plethora of different leads that you guys have accessibility to where people are not paying on their premiums anymore because they may have left the workplace or their policies may have been removed off of the worksite account. Okay. And so the for us, I feel like if I can equip you guys with what to say, how to say it, we've already talked about and trained last month on who are we calling, but now it's how to make that specific call. Okay. And when it comes to policies that have removed off of payroll deduction, this is really the most premium lost when it comes to any other issued business that we have, the most amount of premium that is lost. Okay. And so when we talk about policyholders transferred from payroll deduction, that is sent out at the beginning of every week. There is a recode time frame on there. So if there are policies that are lapsed past 60 days, so if today is April 11th, those policies would be, they would have a paid to date of February 1st or before. So that means those specific policies, the moment you get them in your email, you have 3 days to reach out and try to conserve them. And that's simply just because the policies are lapsed, right? Our job, especially when it comes to quality service, is making sure that we're doing what's best for the customer. And at that specific point, 60 days past due means that them and their families are no longer covered, right? So usually it's just a simple phone call for us to help get that fixed and that coverage revived for them. On that report also, they 3 days if the policies are lapsed, and then you have one full week on everything else that's remaining that's on there to work on contacting that may have been from any worksite accounts that you guys may have enrolled. Mentioned lost business. On that lost business, we'll look at this a little bit more. You'll see images on it. ICM chargebacks, we talked about in the future persistency lapses. So those four main reports is where most of our conservation leads come from. Now, how the money works. This is the biggest question that people get. How does it pay me in the long run? So, when it comes to the money side of things, let's say you are the writing. If you're the writing agent, you conserving business simply allows those commissions and renewals to go back into your commission account. The commissions go back in your commission account, and then after that policy pays for a year, then you start making renewals on it. If it lapses, it's not going to pay you commissions or renewals at all. So what would have been the point to have written the policy to begin with? Okay. So that's if you were the writing agent. If you are not the writing agent and you have contacted a customer that is recode eligible and you conserve that policy, those first year commissions. So if the policy has an, let's say the policy just issued in January and here we are in April, right? So we still have the remaining first year commissions that is going to go into the conservation or is going to go to the agent that can serve that policy. Those commissions go into their commission account because it's already been charged back from the writing agent or the commission agent. It's going to go into the agent that can serve the policy, and then when that policy hits 1 year, then they will get those renewals on it. Okay, so that individual agent that can serve the business must have performed the work in order for them to get the conservation credit on it. And then obviously everybody in that entire upline would be receiving the commissions and renewals also. Okay, so how the we talked about this already. Renewals. The last thing on here is that each time that a month of premium is waived, because we're gonna go over some of those rules. I'm getting some background noise in. Give me 1 second, y'all. Um, we do have some rules and some opportunities to help customers transition from the work site to be paying it out of their checking account, whether it be ACH. We do allow and we do waive some premium. We'll talk about those rules, but just always keep in mind. I know sometimes people like to use the waiver as leverage to help customers actually make the decision to conserve business, which is fine. But I always say for us not to give them the option if it's not necessary, because if you waive a month's premium to conserve that policy, you are waiving 1 month's worth of commissions and renewals. Okay. So I always only bring up that option of waiving if they're struggling financially because they just got a new job, or if let's just say the funds aren't available right now because they don't get their check, their Social Security, whatever checks they may be getting, or they may get paid only at the beginning of the month, then that's when I would waive that 1 month's premium just to help them in that transition. Okay. Um, Now, let's talk about the waiver rules because I always get this as a question. So I don't know why this is pulling like this. So we have the ability to waive up to 90 days of premium, not 3 months, because you guys do remember you do know that some months have 30 days, some have 31, some have February has 28. So conservation department says 90 days. So always make sure, and I always when I'm having my calls when it gets toward the 28th, 29th of the month, like, hey, make sure you get all your conservations and we're getting close to the 90th day for cutoff for it to be 90 days of premiums that we can waive. Okay. And we can only waive premiums that are missed. Policies cannot be waived in the future. So sometimes that customer can't have a draft come out of their account this month, right? We're going to help waive those premiums for them. Only send me the conservations when they are ready to go to home office because I get probably 30 conservation emails a week and I'm just taking them and I'm blasting them. So sometimes at the very bottom it'll say, please don't send until May 1st. Well, because I'm processing stuff so quickly, sometimes it's not seen. So please only send me those conservations when they're ready to go to home office. And also, too, if you're sending me conservations, let's say after the 15th of the month, make sure that the date is going to be the day that you're sending it to me. If you, I get this is the number one reason why I have to push back on conservation a lot is because you guys add the date on the conservation form, but you don't send it to me until 14 or 15 days later. And so home office will not process if it's outdated. Okay. And if it has a date before the 15th and you send it to me after the 15th, Home office will draft immediately because on the date of that conservation form, it says before the 15th. Okay. Now, another thing for waiving is we can only waive 3 months in a 13th month period. So if you've had a customer that's already had 3 months waived in the last year or the last 13 months, home office won't waive anymore unless we get into the next 13th month rolling time period. Okay. So only 3 months for every 13 months. We do also have policies that have cash value. ALXs are our number ones where we cannot waive any of those policies. You have your whole life or your Accrue Life Plus policies that do accrue cash value after the third year. Those I know if we catch them the after they had cash value, then usually the customer does have to pay the back premium. Two ways that they can do it. If it's 2 months owed, they can you can let me know and home guys, this is the I would say probably another confusing part that people get into is they want home office to draft whatever the back premium is. Our home office mainframe system only drafts and only can draft if there are 2 months past due. Only 2 months past due. If it's anything more than 2 months past due, home office cannot draft those premiums out of that customer's account. But if it is 3 months past due and it has cash value on it, then you guys actually can call the customer service line and get the customer to pay with a card over the phone and make those premiums over the phone. And then once it's paid current, you can send the conservation and we can get it moved over to bank draft. This is something new recently too, that if you are an agent that has coverage, they do not allow you guys to waive any premium. They want us to pay all of our premiums. So that is something on there. All right, waiving premium rules. So today is April 11th. So let's look at some examples on the screen. If a policy is paid to April 1st, then home office is going to draft immediately because it is only the 11th of April. So they're going to go ahead and collect April premiums. If the policy is paid to March 1st, they're going to waive March premiums and they're going to draft for April on whatever. If they select a draft date, like let's say if they selected a draft date of the 5th, even though today is April 11th, they're going to go ahead and draft right away for April. And then on the subsequent months, May, June, July, it's going to come out on the 5th. Okay. Last example, if the policy is paid to 2/1, they're going to waive February, March, and they're going to draft immediately for April. Okay. Obviously, if a policy is paid to January 1st, it is actually beyond the 90-day mark. It's a hard cutoff when it comes to conserving to BB. 90 days is a very hard cutoff. So that's why we only have policies right now that we can do this with that have a paid to date of February 1st. And the drafting rule for premiums, if it's before the 15th, home office is going to draft. If it's after the 15th, we're going to waive that month. And again, I want to make this clear. It also matters what date you put on that conservation form. Okay. So I know sometimes like we had a Southern Bank that they stopped the payroll deductions. We sent up a lot of conservations after the 15th, but all the customers wanted their premiums drafted out for that specific month. So I had advised the AD, just go ahead and put on the conservation form. They were sending the conservations on the 16th. I said, go ahead and put the 13th on the conservation form so that way home office can draft for that month's premiums. And then I just had one this week where the date was actually the 10th. We sent the conservation slips on the 20th, and that customer wasn't prepared for that specific month to draft. So the date on the conservation form, and I want to show you guys right here so that way you could see what I'm talking about. Give me one second. The date on the conservation form right here is where I'm talking about. And that's where we want to make sure that either if they're not prepared and you have to wait to send this up after the 15th, make sure the date is going to be the day that you actually send it to me. And sometimes I prefer you guys to just not even fill this out at all. It doesn't matter to you because this is the one area on the conservation form I have to fix the most, even though it shouldn't be. But I guess to home office, the date definitely matters to them. So. And the reason why is because they don't allow for conservations to be held just to waive premiums, which is understandable from the home office's end, but from the field's perspective, it's our job is to help the customers keep their policy. And if they can't afford it, then there's no sense in us setting the conservations up. So, we're playing by the rules. But at the same time, understanding the rules will help us navigate them a little bit better as we process them. Okay. So we said, oh, I already talked about drafting if this policy. So let's say, example, on a policy that is paid to March 1st, I'm looking at this second example here. Policy is paid to March 1st, 2025. If today is April 20th, not the 11th, because I already talked about that. But we said if today was April 11th, then we're going to waive March and draft immediately for April. However, let's pretend today is April 20th and a policy has a paid to date of March 1st. We're going to waive March and April, and they're going to draft in May on whatever day that they've selected and on the subsequent month. So that's how the waiver works. If it's after the 15th, we don't even draft for that specific month. We can go ahead and send the conservations up on let's say the April 20th. We can send them up to home office. The customer will not see a draft come out of their account until the day that they've selected. Let's say if they selected the 5th, then they won't see it come out until May 5th. Okay. So, who are we going to be calling? I briefly mentioned this, but I kind of want to be able to show you guys what with some visuals. So, for our work sites, we know that there's turnover in every single worksite account that we have. These are people that are coming off of the invoice, which on my screen you could see on an invoice on the far right. This is how our accounts, our bookkeepers remove people off of an invoice that have left or are no longer working there. Putting a P at the far right and deducting those amounts from the invoice, those are the people that show up on what's called the policyholders transferred from payroll deduction. That comes out once a week, and that is a entire list view of all the policies that have been removed from the week prior. Okay. And this is simply just like, hey, they're not working anymore. Sometimes you have bookkeepers that do remove people for certain reasons, or sometimes it is an error. So I know I've made calls on this specific list before, and they were like, hey, I'm still working there. And the bookkeeper removed it in error. We got it conserved, added back on the payroll deduction. But the majority of the time, you are going to find that these employees have left, and we just need to contact them for them to keep their coverage. We talked about chargebacks from your ICN. So a lot of times you guys will see on here a lot of chargebacks that hit on the 19th of the month, and there's several policies that have come off. Yes, they are also policies that have been removed off of payroll deduction. The reason why I'm going over these different tools is because I want you guys to be able to utilize, some of you may say, well, I don't get copied on that email for the policyholders removed from payroll deduction. Well, you do have access to your own ICM and your own chargeback, so you can pull the chargebacks from your commission account on ICM and make calls from here to help keep that commission balance maintained and conserve any business on there where policies have been removed also. Okay. Also is the future persistency lapses. So for my newer agents, guys, you are being measured on DCN. On DC, I think I actually have these two flipped. Give me a second. Oh no, I didn't include it. Okay, before we talk about future persistency, I do want to show the DCN lost business. So this email goes out every week. If you're an RYA, SAGA, AD, you get copied on these emails. This is what affects DCN, guys. Declines, cancels, or not taken. So for my newer agents, newer SAs, new GAs, guys, your pay is being impacted by DCN. So always, always, always come in here, open this spreadsheet, and you can see on here, these are all the policies that have come off. And you want to come to this column right here that says issue date, because these issue dates that have a February 1st are ones that we can reach out to and contact. And guys, these have a February 1st effective date. And this past week, we had over $26,000 worth of annual premium lost on our previous week's submit. $26,000, and about 19,000 of it was just in not takens, and we can conserve them and move them over to bank draft. So for you guys, how that works when it comes to pay, if you conserve any of these policies that show up on lost business, the money for that first year's commissions, because remember, it's April 1st, these have an effective date of February 1st. And if we wait February, March, and draft in April, the commissions from April all the way to next year, those first year commissions will then get added to your commission account if you conserve those policies. So there is money even in lost business. In lost business, there's only three teams that I know of that actually reach out and make calls on their conservation on lost business. And this is prior to it affecting your quality. Where people are actually starting to make calls is when you see that when it's too late and it's already affecting their quality, their DCN, and they're like, oh my gosh, why is my ICM showing that? My direct pay is reduced or my bonus is reduced. Well, it's because they've been neglecting these reports, and these reports do mean something to you. Okay. It shows you what policies have come off, what are impacting you. And so it is our responsibility to service and reach out and try to salvage the policies since you guys have already worked so hard to get the sale and to write that specific policy. Okay. So that was lost business. I'm sorry I didn't have that visual in here on my PowerPoint. And then the next is going to be persistency. So if you are an agent, SAG or AD that has been in your contract for 7 months or more, your pay then switches, excuse me, 8 months or more, your pay then switches to being measured on persistency, which is business being retained, customers being retained and paying on the books for 4 months or more. This spreadsheet gets sent out to everybody that has been here for longer than 8 months or more. Your name will be on here. I always include you in the email. When you click on the attachment, it has those specific policies sorted on there on ones you can conserve that will help positively impact your future persistency percentage to increase your direct pay and bonus payout when those projections actually hit on the 25th of that quality month. Okay, so just wanted to be able to let you guys see those four different reports that are being sent out that do have the most amount of conservation leads. And for my people that are making calls and you are seeing that, hey, this is opportunity here. Like I've recoded a policy on an agent that's no longer here, and I saw my commission account. Like for me, my commission account is right there at 3,000. And every time I conserve business, like, if your commission account threshold is over 3,000, it pays you that percentage. I believe it's 4% pays you out. So when I'm conserving business that has first year commissions, it always boosts my threshold. My balance goes above 3,000 and I end up getting paid more than just commissions. I also get paid that percentage out of my commission account. So when people start seeing that the money does pay out by conserving business and you start making these calls, you have access to policy information. But all you do is copy and paste that policy into Epic, into the search. It pulls up. You can click on the telephone number. A lot of times when I'm making conservation calls in the car, if I'm traveling in the later afternoon and I make those calls, all I have to do is push the telephone number on my phone and it dials out right away for that telephone number. So you do have access to policy information in Epic. So now, what to say when we make those calls? You all have that script in front of you, transferring policies from payroll deduction. If you guys can pull it out, wave it up in the air, make sure everybody's got it. And this right here, and I'm going to kind of move so we can have a bigger visual here. Where is it at? Hang on. All right. So when I make my calls, it's like super simple. This is the script. I know I kind of have it memorized already. So I'm like, hey, this is Angela Globe, Life Liberty National. The reason for my call, I got an urgent notice that our home office I got an urgent notice from our home office that your policy is no longer in benefit or no longer being paid by your previous employer. I always say no longer in benefit because I make so many of these throughout the week. And I just don't have time to sometimes put the employer name when I'm leaving a message, or I send this out also in a text message, exactly what this says at the top. I copy and paste and I put it in a text message when I leave a message for them. It's no longer being paid by your employer, and I want to see what I can do to help you keep your benefits. Please give me a call. My voicemail is the exact same as my text message. And I always send a text because a lot of times I don't check my voicemails, but like once a week maybe. So I get a lot of text message correspondence back. You're gonna get rebuttals like I can't afford it, I got laid off. Our response is being giving them the option to be able to keep their coverage. We can waive. So understanding the transition, I go over their coverage with them, see if we can reduce any of those specific policies to get them at a premium that's more comfortable for them. Understand again, I reevaluate their needs. Do you have any life insurance at all? If they don't have any life insurance, okay, well, why don't we look at just keeping what you actually need, which is your life insurance, and later on down the road, when your financial situation changes, maybe we can add the health policies back on. And is that life insurance for $45 a month? Is that more comfortable for you? So reevaluating their needs and affordability, or sometimes they can't afford it at all, they're about to start a job. I start next week. Okay, great. Why don't I follow back up with you here in the next couple weeks? So let's see if we can transition everything over. Then I have the option to waive premium. So I'll follow back up with you then. Okay. My follow-up system is I've got an iPhone. I just say, hey Siri, set me a reminder next Tuesday at 5:30 to call John for a conservation follow-up. Because I can't writing stuff down. I don't remember as often as I do, but my phone will always pop me up a reminder at that specific time that I need to follow up with my customers. And that's honestly the number one way that I get my results. It's a perfect conservation call when I can call somebody and they give me their information over the phone. The majority, oh look, reminder, she sent me a she sent me a reminder during my training. But the all of my conservation results generally come from follow-up. So if I don't have a strategic follow-up and if I don't call them on that specific day and that specific time, then I lose the conservation. And so that's why I always ask, the next one right here, I need to talk to the spouse or think about it. Okay, what time is your wife going to get home? I'd love to be able to talk to you and her both about it, answer any questions that she may have. And then, he tells me and I give him a call later on that evening at 6:30 and I go over the coverage with them. If it says they don't work here anymore, sometimes it is the business. I try to see if we can get the correct telephone number. Do you have a number where I can reach them? I changed jobs. Great. Where are you working at now? Who handles the benefits there? We'll follow up with the new employer to see if they already do business with us. And if not possible, then I'll call you back to get your premiums and we can get that changed through your checking account. So that's a lead opportunity for you guys to close the case. If it's still a no, for whatever reason, sometimes they may not have a bank account or whatever the reason may be. Again, you have to remember that we have a little bit of time to waive premium to help in the transition. You just have to remember to follow up. That's the biggest and most important thing is you have to follow up. And that's why I like spreadsheets is because if we're losing an account or if I have leads, I copy and paste them all into one. So I work off of one spreadsheet when I'm working and I highlight stuff that I have to follow up with. So when I actually schedule my time on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 5 p.m. to 6:30, when I make those calls, I'm working off of it. And I go back over my yellows, my follow-ups, my hot leads, I guess you can say. It's the same concept as prospecting, except we're just conserving the business and getting them to keep the coverage over the phone. And the easiest part about this process, guys, is, a lot of people say, well, they're not comfortable of giving me the banking information over the phone because the only three things we need to get from them is the name of their bank, their routing number. And listen, sometimes they don't even give me the name of their bank. They just give me their routing number and I just pop it into Google and I'm like, oh, okay, Bank of America. Yep. Okay, great. So I got your routing number. What's your account number? Okay. And a date between the 1st to the 10th that you want your premiums to come out. Sometimes they're like, oh, I don't have access to that information. I don't know it. Okay, do you online bank? Great. Log in your online banking system. It should be in there. Okay, well, hang on. I don't know how to do that. That's fine. I can wait. Right? Like you're literally just there to help them. And sometimes they don't see the urgency until it is close to that 90th day period. So I know with my follow-ups, when we get close to the 90 days, I go through and I send them a blast, like I go through my list and I send a blast text message. Um, this is Angela from Globe Life. I'm just following up. This is the last week that I have to waive any premium for you to keep your life insurance. Please give me a call as soon as possible. And that text message, I promise you, that text message creates the urgency. It's the same thing that we do with our work sites, guys. You know, this is the last week before the coverage lapses. And they usually will pay it just like conservations. If they see the urgency, they pick up the phone and they give me a call and I get it conserved right away, right there on the spot. And so, um, just the last few things on here before I just had a couple of questions for our guest speaker today. Just the last couple of things to know as far as rules. We already talked about the 90 days to put out, cannot be past 90 days. No commissions are paid for waived premiums. Only policies that have no cash value in them. Dental and vision policies cannot be moved to bank draft. And all we need, guys, is routing number, account number, and a day between the 1st through the 10th you want your premiums to come out. So when as people always say, excuse me, well, what if they're not comfortable giving that information out? Sometimes they're not, but I always tell them, listen, you can pay with a check, you can call on our customer service line. However, I can't waive any premium for you because usually when I'm contacting them, it's already past due 1 month. And I always say, if we do it this way, when it comes out of your checking account, this is the only way that I can waive any back premium for you. And usually I'm telling you, customers don't want to pay the back premium at all. So that's like one piece of leverage that I in there to make them give me the banking information over the phone. One other piece, guys, I want everybody to write this down at the bottom of that form where it says banking information. Put on there verify address and beneficiary. I promise, guys, I always verify this in Epic before I ask for the bank account information because it lets them know that I have accessibility to their information. I'm not asking them I'm not a scammer. So I verify date of birth sometimes for the child, like I go over the children's coverage, verify the address, the beneficiary of the policies, and they're like, yep, yep, everything's still accurate. Okay, great. Now all I need is, and I ask them for the information, and they're more inclined to give it to me because they know and I've confirmed their identity, and I have all their personal information on file. Okay, so I've asked Miss Lori. I'm gonna try to unmute you. Oh, you're already unmuted. I've asked Lori Quick. She has been with us for 5 years. The first year and a half, she was our worksite trainer. Now she's done. I moved it on up to GA, promoted to GA in February. So she's killing it, and definitely wanted to pull on her. She is up under Inway Cross, up under Gerald Roberts. She's in Team Roberts, and their team as a whole just has like superb quality month after month after month. They just have really found value in, keeping up with their quality of business, quality service, conservations. And Lori recently here has had her team. They've created a call clinic, and I just kind of wanted her to give us a little bit of insight from her perspective because I know you guys hear it from me, but just from her perspective when it comes to conservations, like what are some things, why? And so, Lori, I do have a couple questions here for you that I wanted to go over with you so people can hear from your view. Now, as a GA, since you just got promoted in February and you've been with the agency again for 5 years, what are some reasons why you just now are starting to make conservation calls?
Well, I guess maybe I'm a slow learner and it just kind of clicked that we work so hard to close cases, pack call, walk-ins, follow-ups, just work, work, work. So we're always trying to get that close. And then what's the point if we're not keeping what we write? So it just, I don't know why it takes that long to click, but it does. Also, I think maybe the responsibility of having a team that I feel like I have a responsibility to show them right from the start, maybe start good habits and maybe not follow the way maybe I did and wait till my persistency wasn't the greatest to, oh, now I need to hurry and conserve. No, but if we stay on top of it and start it from the beginning, that we won't get to that point. So we stay on top of it instead of flight or fight mode. So plus also it doesn't hurt that I have an SA and a team that once they heard about conservations, their first reaction was, oh my gosh, yes. When do we start? How do we do this? Let's get it
Yes.
going. Show me what to do. Tell me how to do it. So that really helped a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Good stuff. Yeah. And guys, um, everybody's conservation calls look differently. Like she said, right now, the majority of us, we've got 12 ADs. The majority of our teams are responding out of, they're reacting to having a quality problem, a DCM problem, persistency problem. They see their projections are trending in the wrong direction for persistency. And that's the time where they're making conservation calls. But what people don't realize is when you then just now open up those spreadsheets, those paid 2 days are far past due. And so that's when it's too late. But to where you become proactive is where she's at the point now where they're just going ahead and making it like a weekly practice. And just in this last week, the reason why I asked her to speak is like just in this last week, they've sent up 7 conservations from different families, 7 different families that they've conserved in 1 week. And Lori, would you say the majority of those conservations were ones where you just contact them, called them on the spot, got them conserved, or was there a follow-up afterward in order to get that banking information and get that customer conserved?
they were mostly on the spot. There may be a couple um, of follow ups, and by follow up, I mean um, I would like to do this next week. I started a new job and give me a week. And so we follow up, but mostly just on the spot, just
Nice.
right on the
Good.
spot.
Good, good. So I promise that's good because yours are on the spot. Some of mine are on the spot. I'm not saying it's never happens, but a lot of mine are follow-up. So guys, again, just it's easy. It's a simple phone call. You don't have to see the customer. You don't have to get a signature. It's just making that simple phone call. What would you say are some of the rebuttals you get when customers pick up the phone and how do you typically handle them?
The majority are, I'm no longer at that job. Um, and what I say to that is, oh, okay, so where are you working now? Or I'm in between jobs. Okay, and they can't afford it right now. So there's several things that you hear. That's also a great chance to get a referral. So you can use that in so many different ways. But when they are in between jobs, that's a good opportunity to talk about, go over their policies and see what you can waive and try and help them out there. And most of the time, they want to keep those policies. If that is the reason they're wanting to keep those policies. So you can help them out there. And also, that's the main thing. I can't afford it, or I'm not at that place of employment anymore, or I'm in between jobs. Yeah,
Didn't you get a lead, a referral
I do. I get
recently?
yes, I did. I have a referral right now. She's actually she talked to the business owner for me. So and she was more
Oh,
than was so happy that she could keep those policies. She really wanted those policies, and she didn't want them to just go away. And but she did need an opportunity to get paid because she had just started that job, and she was like, "Let me, that's my follow up. The one I was talking about with my follow up. She let me get paid, but I do want to keep it. If I can wait till this day, of course you can. Of course you
yeah.
can. It was in that time limit. So yeah. So
Good
yeah.
stuff. Good stuff. And hey, I'm believing for a closed case after that conservation call. Um, Last 2 questions. What is the hardest part about making conservation calls? And on the flip side, what's the easiest part about it?
The hardest part for me was to stop. The hardest part for me is to not make an excuse. I'm tired. Um, I've done my week. I've put in my walk-ins. I've put in my, I've done this. I've done that, just to get my thinking straight. That this is also part of the job, and this is money. This is making money,
Yes.
and I don't have to wear makeup. I don't have to bring donuts. I can sit at home and eat my own donuts. Nobody can see me. I'm making money. I mean, it's like a close. It's like an easy close, really. So, yeah, that's the hardest part was getting over my own excuses. So,
Mm.
and just getting organized, putting it together, getting a game plan. Keeping up, looking at my ICM, checking, staying up on it. What I
Nice.
have, what I need to follow up with, what's fell off, what's, in my own stuff. And then getting a game plan, just being aware of it, making it a priority a little bit in there.
Yep.
And the easiest part is, like I said, gas is expensive. It's easy to stay home and just make phone calls. I mean, it's a lot cheaper to make a phone call than fill my tank up with gas. So,
Yes, yes. Just picking up the phone, giving them a call, just
oh,
diving in is the hardest part, is just taking time to dive right in.
exactly. And when I do a walk
Yes.
in, I hear no. I hear no, yes, maybe, no, yes. What's the difference in a phone call? Either they will or they won't. And
Yep.
it's but it's easier.
It's
Mhm.
easier. It's not a substitute, it's just an addition to
Not a substitute.
us doing the prospecting. So why don't you do me a favor and give just everybody out there that's new, just one piece of advice, looking back, what's one piece of advice that you would have for people when it comes to conservations and then
Looking
take away
back,
on this call.
okay, so as a new agent, looking back, getting, I guess, getting familiar with it, knowing really how to maneuver in it, um, and making it a priority, and not when it's going to affect my persistency.
Right.
Just,
Yep.
just look at it like this is part of it. This is part of it.
This
This
is part of
isn't.
the process. The close and the enrollment isn't the
Yeah,
end of it. Yes, it is about how much you write, guys, and it's also about how much you keep at the end of the
yeah,
day. Yep.
yeah.
And that's how we build our wealth and our renewals and commissions in the long term of what we do. So, Lori, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Guys, I appreciate y'all's time. I hope y'all took away from this training. I'll send the Zoom link out afterward. I hope you guys have a great weekend and y'all take care. Be blessed. Bye.